Well, that's not usually something you want to see first thing in the morning. There are some cows out. Huh. All right, well, now we got to figure out how to get them back. Wasn't awful. They actually went right into the barn. We actually wanted to move cows up here anyways, so that kind of works. There's 6 of the 12 are up here, so half of them are up here. But the other 2 are Joe, or some of the other 2 are Joe and B-Dubs, so hopefully they'll be easy to get up, and having the other cows up here might kind of entice everybody. So goats, man, I tell ya, sometimes they have to be the most frustrating creatures on the face of the planet. They really are. They really are. Sometimes they make me absolutely crazy. It's like they'll be fine and doing what they're supposed to do, and then, for days. And then the next day, everybody just does something different than what we've been doing. And I don't know why. It's the nature of goats, I suppose. Luckily, Ryan came to the rescue with the quad, and he's always helpful. So we're gonna get them in. They're all in. I'm just gonna give them a little bit of grain just to entice them, and then load them up. So we've been using tie-down straps to move the schooners with the quad. It's just a whole lot easier to use the quad. That way somebody can stand back there and we just go real slow, and the chicks actually move great. But we've been using tie-down straps, and it's been kind of a pain in the butt, like wrapping them around and getting them. So we've made new lines with carabiners and some hooks onto the quad. So we're gonna see if these will work. They're just kind of like, I don't want to say half butt, but they're half butt, just to see if it's something that's going to work before we kind of make an official version. We really want to find like toe straps or something like that, but the only ones I could find were really long. I was just at my local hardware store, so I need to go online and see if we can find like some shorter toe straps. But basically I want something with one hook on one end and one hook on the other that doesn't like stretch. It's a static size and we can just hook it to the quad, hook it to the schooner, and be done with it. But this is rope and carabiners. I'm channeling my inner past Coast Guard life and tying knots and all the things. So let's see if this works. Probably doesn't. It's been a long time.
I think the knot's gonna slip off.
You doubt my Coast Guard knot tying skills? So amazingly enough, we have new chicks coming this week. I swear, it feels like we just got these other guys, but that's the way it always is, right? So we need to get this other brooder out. We never did clean it out. We just ran out of time to do it. So we're gonna get that cleaned out today. I actually have to take my dad to the airport. He's been with us for the last week. So I'm gonna take him to the airport today, and Ryan's gonna get this cleaned out, but I'm gonna help him just move it out just because it's always a little bit dicey. So we're gonna get this moved out, and then I'm gonna head out while Ryan scoops. Lucky him. So now that we got this out and cleaned, we're gonna move it back in. Ryan's gonna go get the chicks, and then I'm gonna get everything set up while they are gone. It's kind of like getting into a routine. We're figuring this out again. It's been a long time, and it takes a little bit to remember like how that process works, but we're getting it dialed in. So there are really like two important things that you want to make sure that you do for your chicks when you get them. One, you should make it so that their feed, water, and heat are easy to get to. I think I've talked about this in other videos, but I just want to reiterate it. So as you can see, our heat lamps are very close to the water. I'm gonna put food right here. You also want to make it easy to get the food. So in the beginning, we don't use feeders, we just use open trays so that they can just walk right over it and eat. So that is the most important thing, that they get their crops full of feed and water and have easy access to heat. You don't want them to have to travel too far when they're young. As they get older, you can spread things out more and put actual feeders in, but for the first couple, probably the first week to 2 weeks, we just use tray feeders. A lot of people will put down cardboard or newspaper and just spread the feed out on that. You just want to make it really easy for them to get all of those 3 elements, and you'll have happy, healthy, thriving chicks. So the other thing that I've learned is when you have chicks on shavings, they tend to get shavings in everything. So we use the nipple waterers, so there's no waterers actually sitting on the ground and getting shavings and schmuck and poop and everything in it. We also use, little tip, we use the lids from the boxes that we get the chicks in, and we either fold them in half or we just cut them in half and place them underneath the trays. And that just keeps those trays up out of the shavings. You could probably do it with the water too, but you want to keep it up out of the shavings. That way they're not knocking shavings into it. And it really helps to keep everything clean and tidy, and they're not wasting feed by getting shavings mixed into it. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get these trays in with the lids and get feed ready for these guys.
Okay, so we're at the post office and I'm about to go get the chicks. And thankfully my 4-year-old, it's her birthday today, happy birthday, sweetheart. She reminded me to take a video because she's so smart. So here we go.
So it's basically ready. We get shavings, heat, and make sure that the water is situated, and they are pretty much good to go. So I am gonna leave this back lid off just until I make sure the tank is filling right now. So I'm gonna make sure that it's actually not leaking. It's just a pain in the butt to have to move it. So I'm gonna leave that off for a minute, and Ryan should be on his way. He just said that he had the chicks on board, so they'll be here shortly.
Oh, so heavy. I did my part.
Good job, thanks. Usually what I have discovered is with farming and homesteading, and probably, I guess, just life in general, is things usually don't go exactly like you plan them to be. I had a plan this morning because I was taking my dad to the airport. I wanted to get my portion of chores, at least the chores that I usually do while Ryan's doing something else. I wanted to get those chores done. So I got out here early. I was gonna move the goats out and take care of the cows and get the chicken chores started, at least feeding the brooder and getting the buckets ready to take out to the schooner, and then get the girls up and we would go out and do that. And of course, this morning is, you know, the cows were out, so we had to manage them and get them into a paddock, and then moved over into the other paddock because they needed shade, and that's where the water trough is. So all of the other chores didn't get done until after I got back from taking my dad to the airport. So you just kind of have to roll with it, you know? You gotta like have your priority list and have your list of things that you want to do, right? That you intend to do for the day, but obviously know exactly what, you know, the priority things are, so that you can make sure that you get those done. So one of the priorities, of course, was putting the cows away, or getting the cows situated so they didn't escape. But also, you know, we needed to get that brooder out and clean. Just having in your mind what you need to do for the day, or having a note. I think I've said it before, Ryan and I keep a running note in we have iPhones, so we just keep a running note in our phones that we share, that both of us can see, and the different tasks and things that need to get done, what needs to get done, and what once we want to get done are all listed on there, so that we can glance at it, see what needs to happen, and know, you know, what our priority items are and what are the other things that, if we have time, we need to get this stuff done. So it's just something that we've learned over the years of farming, and not to stress out when things don't always go exactly as planned, because I can guarantee you they're not gonna go always exactly as planned. It just makes for a really crappy day if you're stressed about the things that don't get done. And I am like a total perfectionist. So I am the first one to be upset or stressed or worried if, you know, I don't get my checks, you know, my box checks, all the things done that I want to get done. It's just the nature of how I am. It's just one of those things that you have to understand and have to be okay with, that it's just not going to be perfect every time. Farming is never perfect. You know, even if you're subsistence farming or if you're farming to try and make a profit, it's never going to go the way that you think it's going to go. You're battling Mother Nature, first and foremost. You're battling your schedule and priorities and things breaking. I mean, goodness, if like I had $1 for every time something broke around here and we had to take time out of our quote unquote schedule to repair it, I would be a millionaire and I wouldn't have to farm anymore. I probably would still farm because I actually love it. But, you know, it's just one of those things that you just have to realize that your day farming or homesteading needs to be very flexible, because it's not just you that things are getting affected by, or that are affecting things. It's the weather and other elements that you have to be ready to manage, repair, battle, whatever it is, you know? So I guess my point is just be flexible on your farm or homestead. Understand that best laid plans aren't necessarily always going to work, and you just got to do the best you can. So I'm going to finish up these chores, and I think I'm done for the day. It's late. I got to go make dinner. We got the basics done. Animals are fed. Animals are watered. Everything is taken care of that needs to be taken care of. Tomorrow's another day, and we'll get started as soon as we can. So thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.